Welcome back, educators. In today's video, we're tackling a critical question. What should you do if more than 35% of your students need Tier 2 interventions or more than 10% need Tier 3 interventions? These numbers tell us that something in the MTSS process isn't working as it should. So today, we'll explore what might be going wrong, why these numbers matter, and most importantly, how to fix it. Let's dive in. In a well-functioning MTSS framework, most students, about 80 to 90%, should be successful with Tier 1 supports alone. Only about 10 to 35% of students should need Tier 2 interventions, and an even smaller percentage, 1 to 5%, should require Tier 3. So when more than 35% of your students need Tier 2, or more than 10% need Tier 3, it's a clear sign that Tier 1 is not meeting the needs of the majority of students. And that's a problem because Tier 1 is the foundation of MTSS. So, what's causing such high numbers of students to need Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions? Here are some common issues that schools encounter. Ineffective Tier 1 instruction. The most common reason is that Tier 1 instruction isn't meeting the needs of the majority of students. This might happen if the core curriculum isn't aligned with standards, lacks differentiation, or doesn't include culturally responsive practices. Example: if your reading program isn't providing explicit phonics instruction, students with early literacy gaps might struggle to keep up. Insufficient data and progress monitoring. Another issue could be inaccurate or incomplete data. If you're not consistently monitoring student progress or using the right assessments, you might not have a clear picture of how students are responding to Tier 1. Example: students who are identified as needing Tier 2 might actually just need better support at Tier 1, but the data doesn't reveal this. Over-identifying students for higher tiers. Sometimes, teams might over-identify students for Tier 2 or Tier 3 when those students could be successful with improved Tier 1 instruction. This often happens when there's pressure to provide immediate solutions without addressing root causes. Lack of professional development. Teachers may not have the training or tools to deliver high-quality Tier 1 instruction or effectively implement Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions. If you're seeing these red flags in your MTSS system, don't worry. There are clear steps you can take to address the problem. Let's break it down. Step 1. Strengthen Tier 1 instruction. The first and most important step is to focus on improving Tier 1. When Tier 1 is strong, fewer students will require Tier 2 or Tier 3 interventions. Align curriculum with standards. Ensure your core curriculum is rigorous, aligned with grade-level standards, and provides explicit instruction in key areas like literacy and math. Differentiate instruction. Use strategies that meet the needs of diverse learners in the classroom, such as small group instruction, scaffolding, and the use of manipulatives or visual aids. Culturally responsive practices. Incorporate materials and teaching strategies that reflect and respect the cultural backgrounds of your students. Step 2. Use data to diagnose root causes. Take a closer look at your data to understand why students are struggling. Are the challenges academic, behavioral, or both? Are specific groups of students disproportionately represented in Tier 2 or Tier 3? Conduct a needs assessment. Identify gaps in your current Tier 1 instruction and areas where students are falling behind. Review assessment tools. Ensure that your assessments are reliable, culturally unbiased, and provide actionable data. Analyze subgroups. Look for patterns among student groups, such as English learners or students from specific socioeconomic backgrounds, to address systemic issues. Step 3. Provide targeted professional development. Teachers are the backbone of MTSS, and they need the right training and support to succeed. Offer training on differentiation. Equip teachers with strategies to meet the needs of diverse learners in the classroom. Focus on evidence-based practices. Ensure teachers know how to implement research-backed strategies for reading, math, and behavior. Collaborate with coaches. Use instructional coaches or MTSS coordinators to provide ongoing support and feedback. Step 4. Refine the identification process for higher tiers. Make sure you're identifying students for Tier 2 and Tier 3 appropriately. Set clear criteria. Use consistent criteria for identifying students who need additional support. Reevaluate regularly. Review Tier 2 and Tier 3 rosters regularly to determine if students can return to Tier 1 with adequate progress. Avoid jumping to higher tiers too quickly. Ensure that students have received robust Tier 1 instruction before moving them to Tier 2 or Tier 3. Step 5. Monitor and adjust regularly. MTSS is not a set-it-and-forget-it system. It requires regular review and adjustment to ensure it's working as intended. Monitor Tier 1 effectiveness. Use school-wide data to track how well students are responding to Tier 1 supports. Adjust interventions. If an intervention isn't working, don't hesitate to try a new strategy or program. Involve teams in problem solving. Use your MTS or Student Support Team SST to brainstorm solutions when problems arise. Key takeaways. To wrap up, if you're seeing more than 35% of students needing Tier 2 interventions or more than 10% needing Tier 3 interventions, it's a signal to strengthen your Tier 1 supports and refine your overall MTSS process. Here are the key takeaways. 1. Focus on improving Tier 1 instruction. It's the foundation of the MTSS framework. 2. Use data to diagnose root causes and ensure accurate identification for higher tiers. 3. Provide professional development to equip teachers with the tools they need. 4. Continuously monitor and adjust your MTSS system to meet student needs effectively. By addressing these areas, you can create a more balanced and effective MTSS system that supports every student's success. Thanks for watching today's video. We hope this gives you practical steps to strengthen your MTSS framework and ensure that every student gets the support they need. If you have questions or strategies you'd like to share, drop them in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for next week's video. See you then!